Hello there. Welcome to the channel. Welcome to Nerd.World. Today, going back to the Babylon 5 universe, one of my many sci-fi loves, and we're going to be taking a look at the Breaching Pod. A small, again sometimes overlooked, but very necessary vessel for a universe that's not like Star Trek where they've got transporters or other beaming technology. This vessel was small, compact, and essential for spatial warfare. Would have used specialist units to both pilot it and operate on board. Before we get started, if you'd like to like, share, subscribe, comment down below, maybe hit the bell icon, all if you like this video. If you do like this video, there are full playlists of both Babylon 5 and Star Trek, and I've already mentioned it, as well as other sci-fi universes on my channel if you want to check them out. I also have two other channels, Nerd.World Films and Nerd.World History, that are linked below. With that said, let's just get started on the Breaching Pod. This small craft had no gravity, no independent jump capability. It was a short-range craft which was unarmed, and of course the Babylon 5 universe, unless you're one of the higher races, you don't have shields, so really you're relying on fighter escorts and your mothership to have cleared a path. They would deploy these vessels against either other ships or space stations or possibly other facilities that are in the vacuum. These things were not designed for atmospheric penetration, so perhaps a base on a moon or an otherwise lacking of atmosphere space body like an asteroid maybe. But generally they were designed for boarding missions of enemy vessels. The small ship would fly up to the vessel, of course undercover, and latch itself onto the outer hull. It would then use lasers to cut a hole in that hull, allowing a contingent of Marines to then board the ship or space station or other installation X and either capture it or destroy it, whatever, depending on their mission objective, or retrieval of personnel or equipment or whatever their mission objective is. Of course, multiple of these can be deployed, and they're often carried by capital ships such as the Omega class, but they will of course be carried sometimes by smaller vessels, including military transports or light cruisers. But generally speaking, they have a pilot and a small contingent of Marines. These are not a big ship. You're probably looking at maybe a dozen personnel at most. But of course the ship has multiple of them. They'll latch onto different breaching points. They'll decide, they're quite nimble craft. You can decide, you don't have to attach them all to the same place. That would be stupid. You attach them to all different parts of the hull. You get aboard. You have an ability to carry a small amount of cargo and munitions and additional equipment in addition to the personnel, which will include additional ammunition, bombs, food supplies, other bits and pieces that you might need, potentially environmental suits. After all, you will be boarding in most cases these craft are going to be using as alien ships, and a lot of alien races of course do not breathe the same atmosphere. If you're boarding a Centauri ship, not so much of a problem. Humans and Centauri breathe more or less the same atmosphere, but I can't imagine anyone's going to want to breathe in the same atmosphere as a Pakmara. I mean, they technically still breathe in oxygen, nitrogen and atmosphere, but they're the Pakmara. If you're a Babylon 5 fan, you know why you wouldn't want to breathe in on a Pakmara ship. Bottom line, versatile but highly essential craft for use within the Babylon 5 universe. We only really saw them used against B5 when it decided to secede from the Earth Alliance and the ships were sent by President Clark to recapture the errant space station. But I think they're a very cool design. They're clearly a design lineage. You can see the same engine assembly as used on a Star Fury, and I like that continuity of technology within the universe. It makes sense. They've got a perfectly viable system of engines. Why design something completely different for this craft that's going to be having to keep pace with the fighters? So giving it the same engine design means it can keep pace with them with speed. After all, you strap, as Michael Garibaldi put it, you put a big enough engine on a brick in space, it'll fly. It doesn't have to be aesthetically pleasing or dynamic or anything. There's nothing it needs to push its way through. So these things don't have to be, as I say, aerodynamic. They're literally a bobble in space with a few engines on it. But with that, it can still keep pace with the Star Furies, at least in a straight line. It might not have quite the same maneuvering ability, but it certainly has the same speed, which is essential, as these craft will be needed to be escorted up to their target, as they have no onboard defenses and you don't want all your soldiers dying. With that said, that's really all we have on the Breaching Pod. This craft was definitely in use in the 2250s and 60s. When exactly it was developed, it's not known, but it's likely Earth forces had this exact craft or craft very similar to it, very likely for the last 100 years or so. And they would have been used in previous wars such as the Dilgar War. As I said before, like, share, subscribe, comment down below. I hope you enjoyed that video. It's only a short one again, but really there isn't much on this, but I'm trying to cover all my bases. And I do actually quite like this funny looking little ship, because they only pop up every now and again. Anything odd or obscure tends to attract my attention. Again, thanks for watching. Bye bye.